Massive protests against Donald Trump and his criminal regime are erupting across the world. That very first clip I just shared, that's Donald Trump's effigy being burned during a protest that featured thousands of people in Mexico City. In the second clip that was played shortly thereafter were thousands of protesters, could even be tens of thousands of protesters at Powderhorn Park in Minneapolis, protesting Donald Trump's Gestapo, his ICE and Border Patrol occupying Minneapolis, and their cold-blooded murder of Renee Nicole Good. Say her name. The protests in Minneapolis were huge. And then there were protests that we were seeing across the United States. Massive protests in New York City, massive protests in Los Angeles, in Austin, and other major cities. The people in the United States want Donald Trump impeached. They want this criminal regime that is repressing the people of the United States. They want this criminal regime gone. Just look at what's happened over the past 24 hours as well, as Donald Trump has surged an additional 1,000 paramilitary ICE Gestapo to invade Minneapolis, taking the total to 3,000 ICE and Border Patrol Gestapo invading Minneapolis, also as Donald Trump tries to take away billions in child care service funding by the federal government to blue states, including Minneapolis, and as they shut down all of the Department of Agriculture funding.
Just let me know what your thoughts in this, man. This is crazy, bro. This is totally crazy. I never know that the Minneapolis killing or shooting of the female would escalate so crazy. Yeah, baby. I didn't know.
Funding to Minnesota, Minneapolis, other blue states and blue cities. What is Donald Trump doing? Well, Donald Trump has ordered, according to the Daily Mail, he's officially ordered Special Forces commanders in the United States military to draw up a plan for the invasion of Greenland. This is getting serious and very specific. He's made an order about an invasion of Greenland, which could be imminent. Now, the one thing holding it back is that senior military figures, according to the Daily Mail, believe that such an invasion would destroy NATO, would be unlawful. Donald Trump doesn't care and seems that he's more interested in destroying NATO right there. Now, in response, what we're also learning is GB reports that the United Kingdom may be sending troops into Greenland in order to call Donald Trump's bluff after Donald Trump's takeover threats. So
What? This shit is getting crazy. What? Britain could send troops to Greenland to call Donald Trump bluff. Y'all again with this bluff thing. Why y'all is say bluff? Why y'all is don't find no other word for use than bluff? When I said Donald Trump bluffing, this make the man show that team bluffing. Why y'all is gonna use the word? Jesus Christ. No viewers and subscribers, let me know in the comment section, man. Let me know in the comment section. God, this shit is crazy. Like, the same thing Maduro did. Maduro called him a bluff. Every time you guys call him a bluff, you guys know what's the outcome. Sure.
This article goes on to talk about how the UK, along with its European allies, are saying, well, why don't we just put our troops there and say, look, we are doing a NATO surge in Greenland, call Donald Trump's bluff, prove that it's not about security against Russia or China in Greenland, because Greenland would already be protected by the NATO alliance already. America already has multiple defense treaties with Greenland and Denmark. The United States can build as many military bases as it basically wants there and already has military bases. So this is just about Donald Trump and MAGA As they've said, they're the predators. They consider themselves the predators of the Western Hemisphere. And as predators, they want to take it over because they want just the control. They want to dominate it and they want to destroy NATO. But okay, these predators are also very pathetic, as predators most frequently are. Because one of the things that, again, has taken place in the past 24 hours, now the United States Embassy to Venezuela, through the United States State Department, is urging all American citizens immediately leave Venezuela. This is how it's being reported on State Regime.
Now, this is what I'm saying. Like, before they even release this motherfucking statement that you're seeing right here, I absolutely feel that every US citizen that was in Venezuela, you understand, that was in Venezuela should have already been leaving Venezuela from since the first day Trump and Venezuela kick off with Maduro. I don't think US citizens should have ever been in Venezuela. Like, bro, you know what's going to be the outcome, bro. Obviously, they're going to target these American citizens. They might even get locked up. They might even get, where's Scarlett again? Terrorized. You know what I mean? Torture. All these things could happen. So I'm feeling like I'm putting myself in any American citizen boots as an American citizen. That if I was in Venezuela on vacation and I see that Trump and the Venezuelan president was going back and forth, seeing all these things happening, that Trump want to come for him and hearing that he's supposed to get extradited and he's sanctioned and all these things. Bro, I was packing and I was leaving Venezuela. I was not staying. Now to see this is 2026. This is the 11th day in the first month of January, the first month of the year. The first month in the year should say the first month, January. Are you telling me this is when they're gonna make this post that every United citizen, they're warning them to leave Venezuela? Y'all gotta be fucking dumb to still be in Venezuela. A day like today, seeing all that shit occurring with Maduro and come on, man. Nigga.
Media on Fox. U.S. warns Americans to leave Venezuela immediately as armed militias set up roadblocks. Armed militias in Venezuela, known as colectivos, are reportedly setting up roadblocks to search vehicles for evidence of U.S. citizenship. But I'm confused, State Regime Media. Didn't you and Donald Trump say that people in Venezuela were celebrating the United States invasion and that all these opposition pro-democracy forces were dancing in the streets of Caracas? But now the United States Embassy in Caracas is saying all Americans need to leave immediately because they will be subject to torture or murder by the...
I just said it. I just told you guys. That's the same thing I just said, bro. That's the same thing I just mentioned to you guys, bro. Come on. But this is what I'm saying, right? It could be truth that they were celebrating. Remember, everybody's going to celebrate at that said moment. And at that same said moment, also, the regime, Maduro regime, is going to be wounded for a little couple hours, for a day or so, because remember, Maduro just got took away and all these things. Yeah, there will be people in the streets and all these things. Could have been. Could be lie, could be truth. But still, they had a time span. Yeah, the time span is pertaining to the regime, to how they sat, how they side, knowing that Maduro got captured. So they know they got to sit down, they got to know who they're putting in place. What are the next step they're going to be taking? What are they going to do from what they're not going to do? So obviously, people in the streets at that said moment when Maduro got took, you're not going to really see security trying to stop none, because remember, the US force already wounded the military force little. So them they got to catch themselves. So obviously the regime must say, yo, loud and let them enjoy themselves and do what they gotta do. Soon as we put ourselves back online, we're gonna try straighten this place. And that is what they're doing now. Because they see Trump take it too far away by Trump say, yo, we're gonna run the place. See the people them say, yo, listen, all right, Trump, you say you're gonna run this place. Now, I gotta make sure I scope for all America's citizens and I find any one of them, you know what it's gonna be, bro.
Current authoritarian regime in Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, Diosdado Cabello, Maduro's crew, who's still running Venezuela. So I guess as Donald Trump, what'd you call the guy? Mr. Exxon, because you don't know the names of the oil company executives. So you would say Mr. Chevron, Mr. Exxon. While I probably rarely agree with Mr. Exxon on a lot of things, when he said that Venezuela is uninvestable, and that there's no way to actually get in there and do business there. Perhaps Mr. Exxon knew a little bit more than you did, Donald. Here's how state regime, known as Fox, here's state regime media is reporting. The U.S. government issued a new security alert Saturday, urging Americans in Venezuela to leave immediately, citing security concerns and the U.S. government's inability to provide emergency assistance, according to the U.S. Embassy in Caracas. Those risks include wrongful detention, torture in detention, terrorism, kidnapping, arbitrary enforcement of laws, crime, civil unrest, and poor health and infrastructure. But I thought that everything was great. Didn't you say that, Donald Trump, and your regime? Oh, wait a minute. Everything you say is absolutely false. And again, while the American people are suffering right now, if they're able to get a paycheck, psychologically tortured, living paycheck to paycheck, are they going to be able to afford rent? Americans can't afford rent. They can't afford homes. They can't afford a mortgage. Their health care is being ripped away. The Affordable Care Act subsidies were not extended by MAGA. They've blocked it, even though there was a bipartisan vote in the House to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Trump and the MAGAs in the Senate are still blocking it right now. And so people lost their Obamacare plans, their Affordable Care Act plans that have kept them alive. But folks, the Trump regime's priorities are, let's take a look what they've talked about in the past 24 hours. RFK Jr. posts the following. Reports coming out of Germany show the government sidelining patient autonomy and limiting people's abilities to act on their own convictions when they face medical decisions. That is why Friday I sent a letter to Germany's Federal Minister of Health. Dude, who are you, RFK Jr.? You're the worst health. You're like the anti-health person, the worst health and human services person in the United States history. Why do you care about Germany? Leave them alone. I think that other countries probably have a better command of healthcare than the United States. As Aurora Lolick says, who do you think you are exactly? Like, Germany's not a colony. Take care of your own people. We're doing just fine. Stay the hell out. All of these Trump regime people, all of them are freaking predators, one after the other. Now, with all of this going on, as protests are erupting across the United States and across the world, that first one you saw was the protest in Mexico City, again, where Trump's that doll of Trump was being burned in his effigy was being burned. You also have the Trump White House, the official White House account, making posts like this. A photo of an ICE officer shooting a black man in the face with some sort of non-lethal gas rounds, which could be lethal. I just want to be clear. They're called non-lethal. They could kill people. Shooting somebody in the face with gas and noxious substances. And this is what the White House says. Stand with ICE, stand with law enforcement.
No, that shit is crazy though, cause when I saw the video, I was like, God damn, bro. The dude was not even doing nothing. He was just telling him, okay, just trying to let you put your gun down and us, try to just dissolve whatever tension was going on between the two of them. But I guess, I don't want to say because he's a black man, a lot of persons gonna say, oh, because you're black, you're gonna quick to say black. No, it's not because of that. I just feel like it's that, because most time it is. I mean, why he didn't do it to no other person or like a white dude? You know what I mean? Come on. You know, he had no cause to do that. That's what I'm saying.
And so they're showing, I mean, just look at this. As Aaron Rupar writes, why is this Trump thug brandishing his gun like this? I mean, again, you have these Gestapo who are approaching people who are engaged.
I was saying they want to pick these guys them up all the streets, you know, like they just randomly just pick these guys up because all these dudes are moving definitely, or is it the order that they got make their behaving how they are behaving at this moment? Because they're moving unprofessional. It's like, come on, you is like a cop, or they have more rights, or more they could do more foolishness than the cops than cops. 'Cause they got some cops does some dumb shit. But these guys is literally doing some more crazy shit. I be seeing these guys like high falling some people, you know what I mean, kicking people up. Like, yo, these guys are moving rootless, bro. It's crazy.
In their First Amendment rights of peaceful protests because ICE has invaded their peaceful cities and is harassing and terrorizing people. And they're shooting them in the face. I mean, they killed Renee Nicole Good, and they're shooting other people in the face. Then they're promoting that as stand with ICE. All this is taking place as well over the weekend. Kristi Noem, who's a terrorist, Kristi Noem and Todd Lyons, he's the acting head of ICE, they published a memo that was just made public. And according to this new memo that was just made public, they say that as long as they use funds from what Donald Trump refers to as his one big beautiful bill, which I refer to as the disastrous bill, the one that destroyed people's Medicaid and health care and was tax cuts for the billionaires. So the position that the Trump regime is taking is that if they use funding from the one big beautiful bill, I hate that name, I'm just telling you what their argument is, to in any way fund an ICE detention center, they can ignore a federal judge's order that requires ICE to allow members of Congress access to the detention facilities.
That's totally crazy, though. Let me know what's your thoughts in the comment, man.
Because under existing law, members of Congress have an absolute right to visit detention centers without notice. They're members of Congress. They're able to look at it. The Trump regime was preventing them from doing this. A federal judge ordered the Trump regime. The law says that members of Congress can go inside these detention facilities. And now the position by ICE and Kristi Noem and Border Patrol and all of them is no, we're not letting the members of Congress in because of the protests in Minneapolis. And now that we're funding some of these facilities with money from the disastrous budget bill, which they call the one big beautiful bill, that allows us to not comply with the judge's order that says you have to let the members of Congress in. And this is the regime that calls themselves transparent. I mean, they are hiding torture in these detention centers are concentration camps. You get that, right? They are torturing human beings in these detention centers.
Now, this is what I'm trying to figure out, right? Like, all right, good. You're trying to get these people out of your country. How torturing people reaching? If you grab these people and whether they are criminals, first I heard that, you know what I mean, they're gonna be trying to get rid of the persons them that have criminal background and so forth, who came in the country illegal, persons who maybe came for asylum and all these kind of thing. Those are the persons, the main persons getting out or being detained and deported. Now, what I'm saying is that, all right, good, you get these persons background, whatever they did from whatever they didn't did, good. You capture these persons, detain these persons, simply send these people them to the country. You know what I mean? Send them out of the country, simple. But for you now, torturing them and all these things, what is that for? You know what I mean? Then I saw some photos. I don't know how true it is within the ISIS detention where they have most of these detainees. They're shaving their hair off and all this kind of thing. They're treating these guys like, you know what I mean, like they are terrorists. You know, when somebody find, like when a country get a terrorist that did something, like, I believe that terrorists should be treated like that. But like guys that are it, even if they got criminal background, you catch them wherever, you deal with them normal. You don't have to deal with them like how you're dealing with them, but to know that person's going through torture and all these kind of stuff by the ISIS, that's totally crazy, bro. That's, I don't know.
A lot of them are privately funded and are private businesses making a ton of money. Trump's right-wing oligarch friends, they own a lot of these detention facilities, but there's torture taking place in them. Why else do they not want to allow the members of Congress to visit? Because the people are being starved in these detention centers. They don't have showers or toilets, and they're being shoved into rooms like animals shouldn't be treated this way. That's what's going on behind the scenes there. And it's absolutely, absolutely disgusting. I want to also mention Iran. And let's be very clear here on the Midas Touch Network. Our hearts, our thought. I wish I could do more other than let the people of Iran who are under an internet blackout know, and those who are, of course, are here with family members there, that we support democracy in Iran right here. We support pro-democracy there. And for all of the people there who are protesting and risking their lives, it is an incredibly difficult, challenging thing that they're doing, and we know from a lot of the reporting right now, from some really good reporters who are finding out what's happening despite the internet blackout, is that these protesters are getting mutilated, shot and killed by the Iranian regime right now. And there's just a lot of mixed messages coming out from Donald Trump. It's like he wants to take credit. So he's making posts saying, this is what freedom looks like. If you shoot the protesters, we're going to go to war. We're going to send boots on the ground. America's locked and loaded and ready to go. And then he says we know that there are lots of people who have died. And then Donald Trump's now like, they died because of stampedes. That's why they're dying, because of the stampedes. Well, you've threatened now that you were going to go to war. So are you going to do another? Because you've now created that situation, Donald, where you said you're going to war. So now is America going to war with Iran? Because that was what your threat was. If they killed the protesters, they're killing the protesters. So now what? So now you go to war with Greenland, you go to war with Iran. You go to war with Venezuela, which you call a legal operation, which is ridiculous. You threaten wars with Cuba, Colombia. You threaten to bomb Mexico, and that's why they're protesting there. I mean, what the hell? The hell is even going on right now? But despite the fact that, the facts about what's happening in Venezuela, I shared with you. You read what the State Department said, but Donald Trump's like, Venezuela is doing great right now. I mean, what are social media posts? I love the Venezuela people. I'm already making Venezuela rich and safe again. Congratulations, and thank you to all those people who are making this possible. It's not safe, and it's not rich. Look, we all agree Maduro's a bad guy, and a really bad guy, and he was illegitimate. He lost the election to Maria Corina Machado's pick, Edmundo Gonzalez. That's the reality of what happened. And Maduro's a bad guy. But the question is should there have been an invasion of Venezuela, regime change, where now you are not supporting the pro-democracy forces, you're still supporting the authoritarian regime, Delcy Rodriguez and Diosdado Cabello from the Maduro regime. There's massive repression, uninvestable, as Mr. Exxon said. The American people should, through their representatives, should vote. I mean, that's what war powers is all about. You don't have the authority to do this without Congress. I mean, what are we doing here, folks? So that's what's taking place. We'll keep you posted every step of the way. Hit subscribe. Help us get to 6 million subscribers. And thank you so much.
Yeah, man, that's what we're talking about. Still, despite, like he said, Maduro is a very bad person. A lot of persons saying Donald Trump shouldn't have done that. But Donald Trump thing go, and it's not even Donald Trump, it's American way of life, I feel. I'm not dissing America, I'm not talking bad about nothing. You know what I mean? These guys got to do what these guys got to do. It is how it is. But at the end of the day, there still is a lot of persons from Venezuela that is saying that how they embrace what Donald Trump did because it's been years upon years upon years. They have been going through so much under the regime, the Maduro regime, you know what I mean? And it's kind of crazy that they have less saying otherwise than more. You know what I mean? So it shows to me that the people did want this. But when you be realistic, like the guy just said, did Donald Trump had a reason to go in and do this with him? Well, remember the back and forth is what that's what I'm saying. Like the back and forth with Maduro and Donald Trump. I think Maduro, like although Donald Trump, if Donald Trump ran for the way they're doing, um, the back and forth with Maduro and you know what I mean? And then the other day we get to find out that somebody within his own circle helped sell him out. You understand? Somebody in his own circle, a general who um sold Maduro to the West, to the US, sorry. It's like, man, they said Venezuela has removed General Javar, um, Mor- Moroccan, who was reportedly for the um, safety of Maduro as he was serving for presidential guard division. Basically, they were just saying he was the man that responsible for the safety of Maduro. That nobody can get he or none protecting him, making sure he's safe. There's the man who rat pon Maduro. Understand? Javar. Crazy. It's like, man, and this is why he said they always got people that is working in a lot of these corrupt regime party group gang that don't even want to work with them but fear for their life. And if it's anything they could do just to get out of that, they would do. You understand? But you guys leave your comments in the comment section, man. You know, it's your boy King Fire Feelings TV. You know how we do it over here, so man. Shout out to everybody. Love you guys, man. See you until next time. Stay safe. Bye.